All right. Hey, folks. Vic here, along with Skunk Manhattan. Joined tonight by, joining us tonight with Skunk and myself is Dan.
What's up, everybody?
What's going on, Dan? Thanks for joining.
Just chilling, man. Yeah, life is good. Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Pleasure to have you, man. Man, it has been years since we've talked.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I mean, I think possibly even a decade more. I don't know. When the heck was, when did you leave LA?
I mean, I left LA like in 2001, maybe or two. It was a long, but I mean, I saw you guys toured in 2003 probably was when the album was out, and so I saw you guys in San Antonio when you toured.
That's right.
And then I've been back to LA several times, but have I ever seen you since I've been back out there?
Not that I'm aware of, actually. No.
That's crazy, man. Because I know I've seen Sean a few times over the years.
Right.
I saw him up in Boston a few years ago when I was on.
Oh wow, yeah, because he moved back there. So
yeah. So, but so we met years ago through music school MI out in Hollywood, California.
Yeah, man.
and then you worked there for a while, right? Weren't you doing drum workshops and what do they call those metal LPWs or whatever, right?
The LPW, yeah, the live playing workshop. So
yeah. So I think you guys used to do that, and then obviously, but you both moved there from Boston with the band Hostile Groove in
that's right
2000. I'm wearing the shirt. Hostile. I don't know how well this will work, but
I know. You're gonna have to move the hair, bro. Oh, there you go. There he is, the joint man.
Always 420 somewhere in the world. Great song. And I remember back in the day, this was in like CDs were, still a thing. This was before the Napster.
Sure.
Real close to that. I guess it was right about the same time.
Yeah.
And you guys were doing the whole CD thing where you wanted it to end right. The song ends right, and tracks flip right at 420.
At 420, yeah. That's Sean. Sean's crazy like that.
Oh no! And also there was there was a. The CD was not only a CD, right? There was all kinds of extras. What do they call them? I don't know.
But yeah, there was extra stuff on there as well. I don't know. That was Sean.
Extra stuff. Yeah.
Like some hidden tracks or extra tracks.
Just be like, you fucking assholes. Yeah. Like just all kinds of bonus footage. There might have been a video because you guys had done some videos and
yeah.
I was actually thinking about this like literally maybe yesterday or a couple of days ago, and I was like, man, it'd be cool to cover a Hostile Groove song sometime.
Oh man,
to cover a Fly Routine or some shit. Yeah, you guys, man. So Hostile Groove came out to LA, and I met you guys when me and my brother visited, and
right.
I think it was '99, and you guys were staying out there with a dude that I had met in Texas.
Mark, right? Thomas.
Mark Thomas, who's in Nashville now. I think he's got his own studio. You've got your own school now, which we'll talk about, obviously.
Sure.
But so I remember the first time meeting you guys.
Yeah.
Was like I came out there and I had just got this Fender Strat, right? And I was like all stoked about it. Mark was like, "Oh man, I met these guys from." I think you guys were going to get a place together, but you kind of meet. And I think, y'all were in a hostel. Y'all were like staying in a hostel at the time.
Wow. So you
had a place. Yeah.
So you literally came like at the same time that we came out then. So yeah, that's like September of '99.
September. I was visiting because my brother and I were thinking about going out there, and we were actually staying with a guy in Santa Monica, and I came and met you guys in Hollywood. And I remember when I was like, yeah, because I knew Mark, I never met you guys.
Right.
And I was like, but he was like, oh yeah, these two guys from Boston, blah, blah, metal band, blah, blah, blah. And then he got all into metal and was growing his hair out and all that shit. But anyway, I remember I had this brand new Strat that because we drove out there. So I guess, we had some guitars and whatnot. And I came out there and I met up with you guys. And the first thing we did was smoke. And everyone was like, oh,
that's kind of surprising.
So surprising, right? Because I remember Mark was like, oh, the weed is amazing. And, and I'm like, oh, yeah, cool, I'm sure. But this was my first maybe my first time in California. Shit, I might have been staying with Saganya back. Who fucking knows? And so anyway, we smoked this great California bud.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God, we'd been smoking this, Mexican dirt fucking in Texas. Just, here's some fucking shake for you, you dipshit. And then,
How dare you, sir? How dare you besmirch my people's product?
I'm not saying it's all bad. I'm just saying the stuff that we got. They were like, it came from Mexico, as far as I know, and it was shake or I don't know all the terminology.
I have no idea.
It's funny, like years later, how many people, you can always tell who smokes because they're like, "Oh, where is that? Where I know where skunk came from." Yeah, that's it.
But the
we got blitzed, and then I remember leaving. And like walking down Hollywood Boulevard in the middle of the fucking night with my brand new guitar, like stoned as fucking paranoid, just like shit. I'm about to get
and that's when Hollywood too, man, was still like that whole thing hadn't been built up yet. Hollywood and Highland.
It is, man. Like now it looks like Disney World out there.
Yeah, it's much different.
It was all scaffolds back then, man.
It was like a big hole in the ground because they were digging out the parking garage and shit.
Yeah, so all that area over there. Right.
Yeah, it was dark and scary. And even when I was in school, because we started school in October '99, and I remember walking back and forth to school. I had about maybe like a quarter of a mile, half a mile walk on Hollywood Boulevard. And if it was nighttime, man, it was scary, dude.
It was like not something that you wanted to be in that area walking around for sure. And it's very, very different now.
Yeah, much nicer in a way. I mean, it's still nasty. There's a lot of homeless, but at least it's light. There's lights everywhere, you're not in the dark.
Exactly. Yeah, it was much different, very weird. So are you, what part you're still in LA, right? What part are you living in nowadays?
So I live in the San Fernando Valley. I live in Woodland Hills, which it's probably about
I know 20. Exactly where it is. Yeah. It's like the hottest place in all of fucking LA.
It's fucking hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes from Hollywood maybe or something. So, but I moved here about a year ago.
Okay.
So, and I was in North Hollywood for a while. I was in Sherman Oaks for a while. I lived in Koreatown for a while. Wow. I lived I bounced around a bunch of different places. So,
I was like the Sherman Oaks area. That's a cool area. I was up in Valley Village for a little bit in that area.
Sure. Cool, my wife and I, we lived there for about 7 years, actually. The last 7 years, that's where we lived, was in Sherman Oaks, Van Nuys and Burbank Boulevard. So, we loved it over there. It was nice. I mean, we decided to move to Woodland Hills because our school is in Canoga Park. So now it's like I have like a 2-mile drive from home to the school.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, the location.
Instead of 10 miles, it's 2 miles,
Which in the LA area is like the difference between a 1-hour drive and a 2-hour drive.
Right.
Well, now, ask that.
no more freeways. I don't have to take the freeway.
You actually, because over there you go under the 405 on Ventura over there, right? Like, or are you past the 405, like going to Woodland Hills, right?
Yeah. So Sherman Oaks is where the 405 and the 101 meet. And that's right where I lived, right at the 405 and the 101 interchange there.
Okay.
That's where I lived, Sepulveda and Burbank area. And then Woodland Hills is like 10 miles further north of
that. Is Encino kind of close to that too?
Yeah, so Encino is between Sherman Oaks and Woodland Hills.
Cool.
So we have a bunch of clients from Encino.
Cool. Give us the entire rundown of all the little suburb area of all the little cities. I remember moving to LA and then that was still like pre-GPS and having a map and all that. And it's just
the Thomas guide.
Dude, yeah. Just like all these little mini cities stuck together essentially. And they're like,
sure. I don't even know. I mean, I still get lost around here sometimes. I'm like, what? I don't even know what the heck I'm doing.
When you live there, you know what's in your area. If you're in that area of the valley, that's your area,
Yeah. My wife knows it so much better than I do. I don't know. She just knows it so good.
Yeah. Is she from there, or how did you guys meet? What's her story?
Yeah. So she was born here in Van Nuys, actually. But when she was 8, she moved back to Greece. So her parents are Greek. They're full-blooded Greek. They were born and raised in Greece. Her parents moved to LA in 74. And because her dad is a musician, he's a bass player. And actually he went to MI back in the 80s, when one of the first BIT classes. Yeah.
Paul Gilbert shit. Yeah. Like probably had some legendary dudes there back then.
Oh yeah. All the guys back when that whole thing was starting, and that's when he went. So yeah, they moved out here, and he was working as a musician all through the 80s. And then in the 90s, he got a gig back in Greece with a famous Greek artist. So the family ended up moving. So when she was 8, she moved back to Greece, stayed there until she was about 18, did all her schooling there. And then she moved back here, which was just after 9/11, actually. So it was I think it was October of 2001. She moved back here, and we met about 9 years ago. I ended up getting a new teaching gig at another school up in Agora Hills, and that's how we ended up meeting. And she basically, her and we shared a wall with our teaching rooms, and then she actually hired me for the band. Because she's a rocker, she kicks ass as well. So, but
what's the band?
So it's Electra, which is her name as well. So yeah, typical narcissistic singer. No,
is it? Yeah.
But no, so she just uses her name as the band name. So, but yeah, and then that's how we met. I started playing with her, and then next thing you know, we're married and have a kid on the way. So.
Awesome. Congrats on all that, man. That's
and we own our own music school too, so
that's cool. Awesome. That's really cool. How long has the music school been?
2014, July 2014. So we're 6 years, just about 6.5 almost.
And what's the story with that in terms of what do you offer? Is it a lot of people there? Or is it a smaller thing? Give us the gist on the school.
So yeah, we're a modest little place. We have 3 main teaching rooms, and then we also have about 2 years ago. You remember Dave Baisley?
The name sounds really familiar.
Getting Even. Do you remember Getting Even?
Oh yeah.
So the singer, real crazy freaking dude.
Okay.
Anyways, but I flew him out a couple years ago, and him and we built a big jam room, big soundproof room, and so we have a band room here as well, and it's a teaching room and also a band room. Well, actually, because of the situation right now, the band stuff is on sort of the hiatus because we can't really have people together in a room and all that stuff. So, but yeah, we teach guitar, drums, bass, vocal, piano, ukulele, a little bit of saxophone, because we have a teacher that he's a multi-instrumentalist. So he teaches a bunch of those things. And we got my Electra and myself, we teach, and we have 5 other teachers as well. Yeah. And we got right now we're at about 108 students that we see. Which is great. We were at about 120 before the pandemic hit. We did drop a bit, and we also stopped growing, which was a little tough. But within the last month and a half, 2 months, the calls are coming in again, and people were kind of coming back out again. And so we do a mixture of in-person and online. I mean, mostly online lessons right now. Once the pandemic hit, we shut the school down completely, and everything went virtual.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting for, I think, anyone teaching. That's kind of what has happened. And in some places, starting to offer, the option now. But that's certainly something that seems like it's going to stick. Was that something you ever did before the pandemic, or did that force your hand on the remote lessons?
So I actually had 2 clients that I was teaching online for a couple of years. So I used to work in Orange County. I used to teach down there, and then I quit and the place closed down. It was a long story. It's a sad story, but anyways, but I was quitting regardless. But I had 2 clients down there that wanted to continue to work with me. So with them, I started doing the online thing. So I had 2 students a week that I was doing online for about 2 years before the pandemic hit. But nobody else in the school was doing that. None of the other teachers were doing anything. It was always everybody comes to the school and in person. But moving forward, we're not going to get rid of it, honestly. It's, kind of a thing we didn't see it as. It's a great option. You know,
it really is. Yeah.
And so moving forward is going to be part of the business model. I don't see it going anywhere. And I mean, I got a client in New York right now, actually, you know, because of this.
Awesome.
And I teach, so I teach him strictly online. It's like one of my students, it's his uncle, you know, who always wanted to play drums, and he lives in New York. So he came and started doing some lessons online, and so it's kind of fun now. I got somebody on the other side of the country.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. It's one of those things that I think for me, I was as a teacher that's always either gone to students' houses, had a few at my place and schools and whatnot, and always been like, I should try the Skype thing. And then never really getting around to it, you know. And then this happened, and it was like, well, this is going to happen. We got to figure this out. And then
what do you think of it?
I love it. I absolutely love it. Now I'm like, I never want to leave my house again. So, you know, I mean, and like you said, though, what's so great, and both with teaching and with collaborations with people, these are things that have been around for a while, but now that everyone's hand kind of got forced, I think so many more people have started working this way and becoming comfortable with it. And what I'm loving is just, sure, send me that file, do this, do that, and just recording with people all over the world and stuff like that. You know, I'm sure you do some of that too. Do you do much session type work and participate in things like that as well? Or are you primarily focus on the teaching, or what's all that going on?
I mean, primarily it's teaching in the business. For as far as making money, I do play, like I've done some session stuff that happens to fall in my lap. I don't seek it on a regular basis though. But if it comes my way and I'm interested, I'll take it. But as far as like making money and do all that, it's pretty much just teaching. And same thing with the Electra. She'll do the same thing, where sometimes some session stuff comes around and she'll take advantage of it when it comes, and you know, kind of like an extra bonus as far as cash flow goes, you know. So but I don't seek it. And we both did perform quite a bit. We were both in performing a lot, not making money doing it, but just for the soul, you know. And obviously that's been squelched temporarily, which, you know, I feel it, you know. I enjoy performing. She enjoys performing a lot. So we were active as far as that stuff goes. And we also do with the school, we would do 3 performances a year with the school as well. And it wasn't your typical like piano recital type stuff. We would actually full on like a concert, man. And over the years, we just got better and better and better at them. And they started to become these really cool events, man. And with the parents, I mean, we got so many compliments from parents, and, you know, we're bringing over 100 people to these shows. We got the parents come, but then the family is coming, and then they're bringing their friends and stuff. And then, you know, it's just like the friends will come up to us and be like, you know, I came just to see my neighbor's kid, or, you know, and I was like, okay, whatever, I'll go support them. But I'm like, and I stayed the whole show. I'm like, we really enjoyed it. It was awesome. So, because what we do is we have the student working on their song, and for when they perform it with a professional band. So let's say, for instance, Electra's singing student is working on a song for 3 months, getting ready for the show. Then what happens is the professional band would be me on drums, one of our teachers on bass, and then we usually hired some outside guitar and piano guys. So we hire these guys. We do basically a 20-minute rehearsal per student. And we do it all like in a long day of rehearsal, 2 or 3 days of rehearsals. And then, so when we go and perform it, it's a professional band on stage with one student. So it's kind of cool. And then basically, if the drummer student is going to be, if it's a drumming student, then the student gets on the drums and Electra would sing. And, you know, so it's kind of like professional band, but rotating who the student happens to be. You know, so it always sounds pretty decent because we got mostly pros up there. You know, it's not. But then we also have the band program, which is we put kids into the bands, and they rehearse every week. And then they would get up on stage and do it as well. And so we have like 2 different live performance aspects of it. And so honestly, when I'm doing those, I got to learn usually around 20 songs on the drums, you know, and there are all sorts of songs. Like I had to learn some stuff from like Hamilton, the musical.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So because we always we like to theme our shows, right? So we've done like an 80s show, a 90s show. We did like movie soundtracks. We did musical theater stuff. We've done these different types of themes for the show. So all the songs sort of fit into this. We did a foreign born artist one. And so it was like every song was an artist that was Canadian or European or South America, anywhere but the United States, So we try to have fun with the themes and stuff. So, but yeah, so, I would do some performing then too, which is always,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You're on your toes too, like just having to learn, those kind of things that are cool too. I think another thing about teaching is you end up going and learning tunes and being put in positions you would never would otherwise. Like, right. You wouldn't just necessarily be like, I'm going to go learn some Broadway tunes today. Next thing you know, yeah.
Exactly. It's like, why would I ever learn, this song from Hamilton? Yeah. But the funny thing is like that song, like the whole time, like the whole like couple of weeks I'm preparing for it, that's the one that got in my head. This fucking song from Hamilton. I'm like in the shower in the morning singing this song.
Dude, I'm right there with you, man. I've had a few things where I've had to do some like, and I'm right now actually I'm learning a handful of tunes, and we're actually doing it remote where I'm recording the piano parts and sending it for a student and audition. And we've done some stuff like this before with Broadway type tunes and Guys and Dolls and West Sides. Anyway,
it's different.
It's hard. You have major respect for these composers. I mean,
absolutely.
He changes every 15 seconds. I mean, it's wild, man. And so, but I know exactly what you're saying because I literally the other night was learning and playing a song from I wouldn't have known this either, but there's I guess a Broadway version of Mean Girls, right?
Oh.
And so I'm literally like, this song is so badass too. And it's like the most like teenage girl lyrics. And I'm just like totally jamming it. But yeah, man, I mean, it's so cool. I think part of teaching, just part is growing as a musician in general. But then as a teacher, I think it happens even more. You really are exposed to so much different music you may not otherwise ever get around to, and just appreciate so much different stuff,
It's very true. It's very true. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. What's the name of the school again?
We're called SoundCheck Music School.
SoundCheck Music School in Woodland Hills.
Canoga Park, but yeah,
I mean,
it's all like right in this.
There's a website that's just SoundCheck Music School.
SoundCheckMusicSchool.com. Yep, we're on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff as well. We have pages up there, and it's fun. And now we could teach you no matter where you are. So.
Yeah, nice.
That's cool.
Vic might hit you up about learning some tunes.
Some what?
Some Hamilton tunes.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Singing.
What do you play, Victor? What do you do?
Nothing at the moment.
Okay. Cool.
I tried learning guitar, but I was lazy and didn't practice.
He plays guitar, but it's hard to keep. That's another thing. I think it's hard to stay up. But if that's what you do, if that's your job, like I think a lot of times I'm like, oh man, I wouldn't even be playing, but I'm like, shit, I got to learn these songs.
You guys ever come across like a song that a student has requested, and you listen to it, and come to find out like the part that you're listening to, like the dude is just a badass. Like it could be a popular song, but maybe it's like a session artist or something that's just killing it, just doing all sorts of.
Almost always, right? Because that's where you learn that even like being at MI and stuff, like those guys would be like, "Oh, your instructor's not here for 2 weeks because he's on the road, or a month because he's on the road with Jennifer Lopez." Like that's who these top notch guys tour with. They tour with pop acts. I mean, it's not like Justin Timberlake toured with or. Greg Howell toured with Justin Timberlake, like Michael Jackson always had badass. They always have these badasses. So usually these kind of guys, when you hear them on those songs, like even if they're not doing anything flashy, they're fucking excellent players.
Exactly. Did you ever see that documentary, Hired Gun?
I don't know if I did. Is that Netflix or where is that?
I'm pretty sure it's Netflix. It's fantastic. It's definitely worth a watch. Called Hired Gun.
I feel like someone did tell me about that, and I'm glad you brought that up. I need to watch it.
It kind of it heavily revolves around Billy Joel's band and the guy, because with Billy Joel, which I didn't know this, but his band was a band without Billy Joel, and then somehow I forget exactly, but somehow they met, and so Billy Joel basically took that, like, hey guys, you guys want to be my band? And that went on for many, 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 many years. And then all of a sudden he just fucking cut all contact with all of them and just dropped everything. And they were just like, what the hell, And so they were kind of the centerpiece of the whole documentary, but it talks with some other guys like Steve Lukather's in there. Glenn Sobel. Do you know Glenn Sobel, drummer?
Don't. What is his credentials?
I mean, well, most recently he plays with Alice Cooper.
Oh, nice. I just saw him then. I just saw Alice Cooper on the last tour. Awesome.
Yeah, that's Glenn playing drums. So, he's a fantastic. We actually know him. He actually came to SoundCheck and he did a drum clinic about a year ago for us. Awesome. He's a super nice guy. But he's in that as well. That guy plays with everybody. He's that guy. It's like the A-list guy. It's like who we need something done. Who do we call? We call Glenn. He can't do it. Okay, well, there's probably another guy behind him. But I mean that's the way it works. Though is there's a tight knit group of people that tend to do most of that type of stuff. And they're everywhere. Yeah. So
especially out there. I mean, that's where a lot of them are.
Yeah, exactly. Josh Freese, I know he's another drummer, but I mean he plays on everything. So
another guy, Anton Fig, right? Like I saw him play with this dude Oz Noy here a few years back. It was incredible, man.
Oh wow, yeah.
Jumped up on stage, it was really great. But he was the not the Tonight Show, the Late Show with David Letterman, I think forever, right? But I heard he even played on maybe some Kiss records. Like I don't want to be quoted on that, but I think he was the guy that they would call in to do a lot of session stuff.
Sure, yeah. And a lot of the times too, I think with these guys, like their name doesn't even end up on there,
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like some other guy goes in there and plays drums. They're like, all right, this is fucking shit. Call Anton or whatever, And then the guy comes the next day, like, oh wow, I sound great. Yeah, you were
and everybody thinks it's Peter Criss, right? Or whoever the drummer is.
From what I've heard in like various people in from the LA recording studio world, that's certainly not something that was uncommon. I think so nowadays some poor bastard engineer has to sit there and edit shit or whatever, I guess. But back then it's like we're dealing with tape, stuff's expensive, time is money. Some guy can't get his shit together and he's whatever. I'm sure they're just like, fuck off and call a pro and get it done. And, so I would imagine that's something that happened quite often in the tape days, especially,
Definitely. Yeah. Because you got to just get it done as like one and done type of a thing.
Right. Nowadays it's like, okay, if we can get one measure from you, just loop that fucker.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
It is. I mean, I'm terrible too. Like I've gotten spoiled. Everyone's just so spoiled, It's like,
no, I know. I mean,
I'm not above the law either. I mean, I've gotten to where I'm now. I'm starting to go like, my voice is okay, but let's see what a little Melodyne does,
Is that you singing on This Is Death Metal?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
did a lot of
that was great.
On that one.
Oh yeah, I love that song. That was fun, man. I saw the video. Yeah, I watched the video. It was cool shit. That was cool.
It's really fun. We're actually I just hit up the guy that did that video. Hopefully we'll get him on the podcast. Cool. Very he's the same guy that did the video. I don't know if you've seen Dan that Mr. Bungle just finally put out a new record. I think it's out. I should
really
dare us to not. Well, I saw them the last concert. I want to talk to you about the last time you played and who you've seen last. But I was out in San Francisco. Great, a long story, man. Look, I love the way that I didn't do the Facebook thing where like you say like, hey, guess what, everyone, we got engaged, and like everyone's like, oh my god, congrats! I never told anybody. So like people who watch the podcast will find out. That's how people find out. Anyway, I got engaged. My fiance is in San Francisco. We've got an interesting thing going here, and we've been bounced back and forth. And she was actually here and got trapped here when the pandemic started and the world shut down. So she was here for quite a while, and I just went over there. But anyway, back before all that happened, I was there and saw them in February, and they played a handful of shows: LA, San Francisco, New York.
Yeah, that's when they did the Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny or something.
And so they re-recorded that old stuff and put it out. But anyway, this dude, the guy that did the death metal video, he did the Dead Cross, some of the Dead Cross stuff, and he's also doing he did the Mr. Bungle video, the latest one. You'll definitely see the stylistic similarity.
Oh, that
cool. Was a super cool accidental, find when I met that guy. But yeah, thanks, man. I definitely enjoy that song.
yeah, that's cool. It was fun.
When is the last time Electra? When is the last time you guys played live?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't. Well, okay. Actually, believe it or not, a few weeks ago.
Well, things are kind of starting to come around, right? I've actually just been contacted about. I mean, it's the first shows I have coming up late this month. So yeah, what's the story with that?
But it was a weird situation. So one of our teachers here, actually, Darren, where he lives at his apartment complex, it's kind of like a big thing, and the middle of it is wide open, and he's friends with the manager. So he was just like, hey, what if we had a band play down here on the ground floor, and then anybody that wanted to watch could just come outside their apartment door and stand on the balcony on the third, second, or first floor. And the apartment manager was like, yeah, let's do it. So we threw together a whole bunch of cover tunes, and we set up on the ground level of a apartment complex, and people were just standing in random places up above on their balconies and stuff. So it was
that's awesome though. Like,
that's cool.
You know what's funny? It's like, that's so awesome. I think 99% of the population will be like, oh, hell yeah, live music. This is so cool. Open up the windows. Let's check it out. And there's going to be that one asshole, though, that's like.
Yeah. Everybody was cool. Everybody was like, wow, this is cool, man. Some guy came down and gave us $40. And, it was like, so Darren went and bought pizzas for everybody that was involved with playing and stuff. So it was, nice. But yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I covered my entire drum set with towels. And I stuffed everything because it was like,
just to try to keep it sort of muted a bit.
Yeah, because it's all concrete and like, and it was just like, yeah, I tried to just keep it down a little bit. So it was a unique, among the more unique gigs I've ever done. But other than that, probably before that was probably our December showcase with the school.
Wow.
Okay. And then we did some other stuff at the end of last year. She kind of was restructuring her band with some new members and a whole bunch of new songs, kind of taking it in a different direction. And so we threw a bunch of stuff together with the new lineup. And we did a gig with them, one gig and then another different random one. But yeah, and then I have another band called Time and the Dragon, which, do you remember Kalen Chase, the albino dude?
Yeah.
Yeah. So him and his brother, Nick, and a couple of so we're in a band called Time and the Dragon, and it's kind of like, I don't know. It's not metal by any means.
Has that been around for a while? Because that sounds familiar.
It has. Yeah, we've been doing it for I don't know how long. Yeah.
And Kalen, I don't know, used to play. What was his band before?
Crucifix Doll or The Changing.
I remember that from we're going way back.
Right.
I remember The Changing, and didn't he do something with Korn at one point?
Yeah, and he went out on the road with Korn for a couple of years doing like some backup stuff, and he was dressed up like a rabbit or bunny or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Running around on stage being a crazy motherfucker and like
I don't really know the guy personally. I've heard that he's he's a character. I've heard
he's a character, yeah. He's a true artist though. He's a very talented guy. He's got some stuff out under his own name right now, Kalen Chase. It's not metal, but he's got some stuff out there. It's pretty good. It's good. I love it actually. But
and he's singing, right?
Yeah, he's singing. He plays guitar as well.
Okay.
So, we did a few gigs last year and stuff too, but.
Right on. Is that LA area primarily, or you guys have you done any touring? I know that's really difficult.
Yeah.
To do.
Nah, no touring.
And stuff.
Yeah, everything we've done has been all local here.
Now you can just Zoom tour though. You can tour the world now.
I know, right?
Live streams. Yeah.
Streams.
Yep, exactly. So.
You done any of those, or thought about doing any of that? The live.
We haven't done any live streaming. We with Time and the Dragon, we did one of those like a video situation where we all recorded our parts at different places and recorded a video of ourselves doing it. So we did that once. We're actually in the process of doing another one for another song. And then actually, as far as, I was telling you about the band program, how we had the band program and putting the kids into the bands at the school. Well, that stopped, but we just kind of put it on hiatus, and we were like, okay, we just realized recently, like, okay, well, this ain't coming back anytime soon. So we actually restarted the band program, but we're doing it in that way where each of the kids is recording their parts, and then they're going to record a video to it, and we're going to make the socially distant video, but them playing their song. So we're in the process of our first season of that right now. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, man, I know. I've been, fortunately, I'm not doing video editing on it, but I've kind of got a class band that I've had that has performed live. I'm going to go on a little quick side story about me on drums, but yeah, dude. So one thing is I have this particular adult class, right? And we'll play like cool old classic rock songs, some 90s rock stuff, whatever, right? And we did a handful of events and stuff, and I play drums for that, so it's fun for me. You know what I mean? And cool. I feel like in my own guitar player head, I'm like, I'm pretty good. And then I can't, but I drop a stick every 13 seconds. So how good can I be? But I'm like a rock dude, you know what I mean? So I get behind the drums and I'm like, yeah, and we were playing at this outdoor venue and they fucking called the cops at like 6 p.m. And like there was a noise complaint because like people live in that, but like, dude, you guys moved into an area that is bars and like with patios and there's live music and it's 6 o'clock in the afternoon and you're calling like someone's complaining about a school band playing like Tom Petty or something. I'm like, God
damn it.
Wow.
Anyway, but so
that sucks.
Even when I'm playing with school bands, I'm getting in trouble, man. It's just
right.
My rock and roll spirit. Yeah. But dude, I know what you mean because now with the things shifting like that, it's kind of like going, okay, well, something that's been really interesting for me is like started teaching because you kind of have to, right? The recording it's like, well, and we can't get in a room together. So speaking of Audacity and, GarageBand, it's like, okay, here's how this process works, which I think is actually, especially for nowadays musician, right, is extremely valuable.
It is.
Learning how to record yourself, understanding pre-production, understanding how this whole thing works, playing to a metronome, because it's totally different. Playing live in a band is 1,000% different than the studio, obviously. Absolutely. So that's been kind of interesting and cool, getting files from everyone, putting it together, and then fortunately having someone else do the video editing. But whether it's working in a band or a school situation, like that's kind of a model right now. Yeah. And so like it sounds like your school's doing, you're doing the same thing sort of with these with videos like that, where you can still show the band, playing together, just not actually together at the moment.
Just not actually together. Exactly. Yeah. So it's fun. I mean, we just started it about a month and a half ago, 2 months maybe. So we're getting close to the final production of all the few of the first songs, and then the video is going to be coming next. So, but yeah, like it's a lot of work though. It is, to get it all to happen, So
yeah, it's a lot of work. It's
fun though.
I look at it as like practice, and I mean, I've been editing for a long time, and you sort of like go like, is this a release, or is this how nitpicky to want to get on the editing right now? But yeah, you get pretty efficient and stuff like that. But it's an interesting thing too, because if anyone would go through that process, be like, oh Jesus Christ, I had no idea. Like it's a lot of like more time than just like, and I'm recording my part and I'm done.
Yeah, nope, not that quick.
Yeah.
Oh man, but hold on. So, but anyways,
well, yeah, man. You ever you talk to Sean, old Shooty HG up in Boston? I know he's always got all kinds of things going on, but
yeah, I've talked to him on occasion. He was working a lot, but then the whole thing, he was doing like a lot of like movie production type stuff, working with some guys. Mm-hmm. But obviously, he ended up kind of getting stuck here. So I'm sure he's keeping himself busy. I
see things every now and again on Facebook. In fact, with you though, I don't feel like we had seen much of each other. Obviously not in person, but online. And then, I reached out to a bunch of people when we started up this podcast, but lately I've seen you kind of popping up here and there.
Well, yeah, you got the Operation Save US.
Yeah.
And I hopped into that.
I like it. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's cool. It's good. You got some good people in there.
There are some good people in there. I've had a couple of people bail out that got really, really offended. And fortunately, I was able to salvage friendships and be like, hey, look, so I'm not the kind of guy that's like, fuck you, and that's not the point. That's the whole point that's exactly what I don't want from that group, and that's the whole reason I created it, because I was like, I didn't want my timeline to just be this massive political thing, but I was like, I do want to discuss things, and sometimes you just find a meme and it's funny and you post it and they discuss. Sometimes like, hey, fact check this. Other times I'm just being a little bit of a dick, but I try to like not use it for total trolling of stuff, and you can obviously see who's really in one corner and who's really in the other corner. You yourself, if you would care to, I mean, your political what's your political take, if you want to talk about it on this podcast?
Well, that's not a quick.
That's a good answer. I know. I think you just spoke for 95% of America. Actually, I think the other 5% is super fucking vocal, one way or the other, and the rest of us are like, oh,
yeah.
Well, I mean,
Exactly.
Generally speaking, I'm very libertarian leaning. That's the general way to look at me. I mean, I do what you do, don't hurt anybody else. And, to me, it's kind of that simple,
Right.
But,
don't be a shitbag and follow the basic rules.
Right. And then there's more to it, of course. It's, but, whatever. I don't know if we should go super deep into it, but.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with this podcast. Some of them have been music, and some of them we've gotten into some political stuff. I don't look at it as being super, I'm not, let the conversation go where it may. I don't want to like make you uncomfortable or anything, but
yeah, I'm fine. I don't get uncomfortable. I don't get offended.
Back
I
to
don't
the group
feel threatened.
Yeah, I thought two things between that Facebook group and this podcast. One thing that I think is so cool, especially now we kind of talk about this every week, or I should say I blab about it, but like, so much division, so much just like animosity and anger toward other people because you see them posting some memes and some viewpoints that you don't disagree with, and you automatically assume, well, he's a racist or he's a communist. And it's like, no, dude, like turn the fucking news off for 5 seconds and think for yourself here, So I think what's cool though, between just a handful of people we've talked to here on here so far, and someone like yourself, like, man, we haven't really talked in years, and we've been conversing through that. And to me, that's actually really cool. It's the complete opposite of you see what's happening a lot, and just sort of chatting with people who have sometimes the same viewpoints, sometimes different viewpoints. But the way I look at it is I have like musician friends who some of them are very far one way or the other. Yeah. And I still respect them as musicians and artists. And sometimes I'm just like, man, I just don't get that line of thinking, but I'm not like, fuck you, you're dead to me. You know what I mean? That's weird to me, No.
Well, the division is outrageous right now, and I think it's I mean, I don't know, maybe it's always been like this, but for some reason something's amplified right now, right? And it's something that's more vitriolic than it seems it ever has been for some reason. I don't know. I mean, the hatred towards Trump is
certainly hard this time. Yeah,
that's incredible. I don't like the guy, but I don't have that deep hatred, nor do I have that for did I have that for Obama or anything. I didn't like Obama either, but I wasn't like spending my time, I don't like talking too much about what I hate. I mean, sometimes you have to talk about what you hate and what you don't like. I think you have to say that at some point, but I think it's more important to state what you want and what you believe. And my dog's going nuts right now. But I think it's more important
Trump must be.
Yeah, but to put out there what you stand for, not what you stand against. And I try to do that with my political stuff on Facebook or whatever I'm doing it. I try to be more putting out there what I think to be right and true, as opposed to fuck that guy and fuck him,
Right. And that's what I think so many people want to see, and we just don't see it. You just see finger. This has been the same thing for years, mudslinging and finger pointing and all the things you didn't do, and why you're a piece of shit, and why you're a barbara, and you have dementia. No, you do, and and it's like, well, what the tell me what the fuck any of you guys are going to do to solve anything. That would be really nice, but we don't get it because it's obviously much harder to do that, right? Why do people troll? Because it's way harder to actually go out and, like, if someone comes and shits all over me or a song I've done, right, I'm like, okay, but I actually had to go take the time to do all these things to do that song. Like, you just got on me, it's much easier to just shit on someone else than it is to actually do anything of your own.
Absolutely.
That's why so many people do it. It's easy.
I mean, it seems like that being angry and hating other people, that's the easy thing, right? Just thinking about stuff, talking through stuff, working through stuff, that's hard.
It is.
And so, maybe for some folks, I mean, being cooped up for, since March probably doesn't help either. So
that is
probably adding to the anxiety. And then you have all the news, which pick whatever network, they're just trolling people with headlines, and, whatever headline they throw out there, you go read into the story and it's nothing what the headline reflects. So it's
yeah, I find that a lot. When you actually go and read the article, it's like, I've done that a couple times. I'm like, wait, the headline, nothing in the article has anything to do with that at all. Even it's like, did I read the right article?
Yeah. We see a snowball knee-jerk reaction, and everyone's going crazy when nobody has the facts. Very few people have the facts. And like Vic said, it's like, I think the combination of being pent up in the pandemic and having the initial freedom fighters going, taking our freedoms away in the map. That's like a little giggly tee-hee. Do you remember the good old days at this point, right? And then once George Floyd happened, things just keep, and then the election, it just keeps going and going, and the tension, just the pot boiling over,
Well, when the George Floyd thing happened, honestly, at that, I got a little wrapped up into some of that stuff, and like, I actually had some reactions that I look back at now, and I'm like, "You're an idiot. Why did you do that?" I got pulled, and I like to think that I'm aware of what I'm being, influenced by, and that I can have some kind of a control over it. I'd like to think that, but apparently I don't all the time,
any of us totally do, it's
And I ended up, throwing out that racist bull, oh, you're fucking racist, fucking, and for some of people it probably was true, but I was just throwing it out there, because I was pissed off, because I don't like the police brutality stuff, and I do think that there's an issue there that needs to be addressed. I do believe that, but I got wrapped up into that whole thing, and I don't know, and now I'm trying to just go back again to thinking more about, okay, well, how do we talk about or think about solutions instead of just
right. I think in the end, it's like, as much as it is, you want to get heated in the moment because it's infuriating, regardless of whatever the motives are in a crime. Either way, whether it's a police brutality or whether it's a thug breaking, either way, crime is crime, right? And it's like murder is murder, whatever. And so, but it's like, you still, I think, from a logical standpoint, have to look at something and go, what are the actual facts of this case? What leads up to this case, and make an assessment on that. And us as the population, we don't know that. We know whatever the headlines are, whatever spun articles we've read, whatever opinions we're getting fed from our little groups and echo chambers. So it's really easy to get heated and just sort of jump on board with something. And and then we have all these, it's race, and these are all your go-tos, right? And they're assumptions. And so one way or another, I'm not saying that or any other particular incidents, what was or wasn't racially charged. They're all different. They're all different instances. But in the grand scheme of things, I think in the grand scheme of things, you look and go, police brutality is never okay, regardless, right? And on the other side of things too, and when something bad does happen, it's also not okay to just go burn a fucking city down. So that's where I look at it as. The whole two rights don't make a wrong. It's like, like you said, let's propose real solutions. Real solutions are not running out in the street creating anarchy or sweeping. If you're a law enforcement agency, sweeping something under the rug and hoping it doesn't happen again. Those are not real life solutions. So
that's right.
That's what we all need to strive for. But the news outlets that want our ratings and want to keep us all up in arms they're not doing us any favors. I don't think they even want that.
They don't. I think they need the situation to be the way it is. I mean, that's how people watch and it's unfortunate, but
yeah,
that's how it is. It's like that old movie Network. Did you ever see that old movie Network?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's great. It's from it was from the 70s, but basically it's about how the news networks eventually figured out that selling, bad things is actually creates more ratings, and it's how news kind of started to turn more towards getting views and getting ratings as opposed to just disseminating valuable, useful, factual information.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a movie. Obviously, it's not it's not anything but it touches on. I haven't watched it in a couple of years at least, but I do remember watching it. You ever see those clips of like there's that guy, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. You know those clips? You ever seen that? It's from that movie.
Okay.
Okay. And he's the news anchor. He's the guy that's like, seeing all of it happen and all that stuff. So yeah. But yeah, that's the state of where we are with the news. I don't watch the news, honestly. I don't have TV in my house. I mean, we have a TV, but we have just our paid for like streaming services, but no cable. I haven't had cable in over a decade, or any kind of like network television. So I don't watch any news.
So I mean, how do you cope with not knowing who the latest Bachelor is or who's winning on, like how do you live? I don't understand. Do you not even know who's on The Voice right now? This is crazy.
I didn't even know it was happening. No, I know I I willfully disengage from it,
I think I've been like that for years, and I've always had this massive disdain for, and I understand journalism at its core, done correctly, is important in any society and should be should be there.
Yeah.
It's a responsibility just like so many other things, but it's so corrupt all the time. I've just always had this like disdain towards news anchors and journalism. There's a whole history to why, and I'm not going to go into it. Sure. But so for a long time, I was very much the same. And then man, Corona is what got me. This whole virus thing happened. And I think like so many people, I just got glued. I couldn't every day. I'm just tuning in. Yeah. And then everything else has happened since then with, with all the civil unrest. And it gets very hard to tune out, So one way, and nowadays with social media, you're going to see it one way or another. It's like you can't really avoid it unless you just literally live amongst the bears and don't have any sort of social media or television. You're gonna right.
Well, that's it. I mean, I see what's going on by like, I mean, not that I consider it the news, but sure. It's more the sentiment of where people are from watching social media. Most of my friends are my friends on Facebook are very left leaning. And so I see a lot of the, that point of view from kind of my Facebook feed. I do try to limit my time on there. I try not to go on there too much. Because I was though, when the pandemic hit again, what else are we going to fucking do? Right. We're all kind of like told to stay in our house.
Right.
The only way we can know what's going on is to basically do that, and then it kind of sucked me back into the whole, like being on Facebook all the time and, just, and I was kind of upset about that. And again, the political thing came back to me as well. Cause I kind of dropped politics for a long time, cause like I gave probably like 2012, 2013, I basically stopped. I'm like, I got to stop. I got to just knock it off. I was listening to talk radio all the time and
becoming a grumpy old man.
Yeah. And I felt like it was making me sick, honestly, like physically.
It's not healthy. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I was like wanting to scream at the fucking radio constantly, So I just made the decision. I'm like, I'm going to stop listening to talk radio. I'm going to listen to music. I'm going to listen to audiobooks. I'm going to, look into other things other than that. And I did that for a long time. And then, of course,
2020.
Then this whole thing happened, and it's just, I didn't like the governmental reaction to the situation, right? I think the lockdowns were a bad idea. I don't think that should have ever happened. And that really triggered me, and that made me go back into it like headstrong. Like, because to me, I feel like my issue is that I feel like then once government starts to do something like that, where they exert a massive amount of force and control, they don't go backwards.
Nope.
They don't. It's only going to go further that way. If they do come back, it's only going to be the slightest little bit, and it's only going to be token.
I mean, where do we see that as the most paramount? Where does that happen? The biggest pivotal shifts, right? Like FDR, maybe, right? In the Great Depression.
Sure. I mean, Patriot Act after like 9/11 with the Patriot Act.
And you're right. So those things sort of become a way of life. And so I get that aspect, and especially you, and that's the rights argument, I think, usually, right? And that's probably more a libertarian thing, and certainly
the right is empty, though. That's the thing. I think that the right is just words. I don't know. Especially the establishment right or the establishment Republicans, they may say that, and their base may actually genuinely believe it and actually want it, but I don't believe that.
I don't believe the words, right? Yeah.
Right. But I don't believe that the establishment right believes what they say when they talk about that stuff, personally. That's why I don't engage with the Republican or Democrats at this point. It's all platitudes and.
Sure. Yeah. It's funny. I feel like I was completely, it seems like Victor probably sides with you, but I was the opposite. I got, not that I want all freedom stripped away and all this kind of stuff, but I mean, I was just like for the shutdown. And at a certain point, I'm very much now like, man, the bars have taken a horrible hit. Small businesses are this is it's devastating. You can't, I'm glad to see some things are opening up. And my biggest problem, like I was for like what's going on is that what bothers me the most is the people because I was on super team mask from day one. And now it's like, that's a way of life now. Everyone wears a mask. I don't feel like wearing a mask is a huge infringement on freedoms. There's a lot of other things that very much could be. I don't want to wear it fucking forever. I definitely want this to be the rest of, I'd like for this to. And so that's my point. At some point we got to this is not going anywhere. We got to figure it out. We got to deal with it. We got to do the best we can and take the best precautions. A lot of these things is what you said a while ago, what you were talking about is just, if you're just have basic fundamental compassion and for other people, and just I'm willing to do a little small thing, right? If you are, I think we all should be. So my personal opinions on the mask, I'm willing to do that. I don't have a problem with it, but I agree. I don't want like massive, huge regulations to come from this where there is no turning back. And I don't know what your thoughts are on the whole vaccination thing either. I'm kind of maybe on the fence a bit on that. People live and die by this stuff though. And that's where we're at. And that's why people getting dropped like, flies, to use the Pence pun, but it's just, it's crazy, man. It really bugged me from the top that so many people were I understand, because I think that their sentiment was what you said. And they mean well by like, we're not going to stand for this shutdown. But then there's this huge pushback of people going like, and in my mind was just like, man, how dare you to just be so callous about a novel illness that we don't know anything about. And you're just like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm not going to wear a mask. And then you could potentially what are your thoughts on that? I mean, not to go too deep, but on the masking stuff. We kind of all have to do it now, regardless, right?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, honestly. I do it when I have to, but I don't mind it as a choice that people choose to make. I think that government mandates of it is not a way to go, because again, I once we go that way, going back the other way doesn't happen. you know.
What I like is giving businesses, and I think right now, considering the circumstances and how a lot of people feel, most businesses would probably implement that practice, but give businesses that option. And I think that's the big thing. And then if someone comes into the business, right, and this is with any business, and I feel like this is a more conservative view, but it has nothing to do with not liking gays or not liking abortion or any. But if a business, if you're a privately owned business, it's your fucking right? If you want people to wear a mask and you don't want to serve gay people, isn't that your right? I don't necessarily agree with that, but right? Where do you draw the line? Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty extreme example, but here's the thing too.
I get it.
Chick-fil-A is like all anti-gay and all this. Nobody gives a fuck. Everybody eats Chick-fil-A. How much does that actually hurt their business? Okay,
because I don't like that they hate gays.
Okay, well, you're actually, there you go. You're a guy who puts his money where his mouth is. You're actually.
I try to,
but I feel like so many people be like, "Fuck Chick-fil-A," and then 2 weeks later, totally just either forget it. Like, man, I really like those chicken nuggets. Fuck it. Yeah. That's how we are. We're fucking assholes. Like, we're so lazy and we're so forgetful.
I've never had Chick-fil-A. I've heard it's fantastic though.
The states are so fun. Hey. I've been on a McDonald's boycott since I lived in LA, and I'm pretty fucking proud of myself for it. I have not purchased McDonald's in almost 20 years.
Why?
For whatever it's worth.
Why? What's your motivation for that?
I mean, it's kind of petty. It's because they charged me for barbecue sauce, but that was the final. That was the final straw. There were things leading up to that for like a guy that couldn't understand the concept of leaving pickles off cheeseburgers. The fact that me and my brother had to pull over because we got really sick from eating. There was like 3 things in a row that happened at McDonald's, and then I was just like, I'm done with these fucking. Not to mention it's garbage. It's unhealthy crap, right?
It is. Yeah. It's terrible. I had it the other day. Every now and again I do it. You know.
For me, it's one of those stupid things. It's like quitting. I'm not to say quitting smoking is stupid, but it's one of those things that once I've done it and it's gone for so long that now it's like like I don't want to like fuck up my record of not eating. You know, I have fucked it up and eaten it when someone else bought it and it was the middle of the night after a gig and I was hungry and I'm ashamed of myself. But I have not purchased McDonald's in all the. However, like you're saying. You have the right as a consumer to not eat at a certain establishment and that establishment. But I do agree, like, and this is where it gets really tricky. Like, people want to see this shit as black and white. It's not, right? Because maybe it's okay if a business wants us to wear masks. I personally think that because it's a health thing.
Sure. Yeah, right? Absolutely. I have no problem.
But then if they're like, but we don't serve black people, that's just not going to fly. Like, that is something that absolutely cannot be tolerated. So it's not simple. Would you agree? Like, what is the solution there in terms of giving businesses their freedoms, but you have to have some sort of like, look, fuckers, you can't not serve people, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is with the race thing, right, is that person has no choice. They were born that way with a skin color that is black, or they were born, they were short, or they're fat, right? So it's like you can't. I mean, I guess the fat thing, maybe you could say exercise will fix that, but like but if you're born with a certain thing, I feel that discrimination against, or the refusal against serving somebody, that's not gonna. I don't know. I'm not dead on that one, but I feel like that's not a good thing.
I agree. I agree. Yeah,
it's not good. But at the same time, it's like if a business were to choose to do that, not serve, let's just say, black people, I don't think that business would do very well. Personally, I feel like that there's enough people out. I think there's more people that are not racist than there are that are Absolutely. Racist. I think I don't have any scientific, or mathematical proof of that, but in my heart,
certainly in this country, maybe not in other parts of the world, but certainly in this country, yeah,
I believe that, and I think that, and that's why I think part of the racism cries that are happening from the left are kind of, I listen to some libertarian speakers and stuff like that and read some stuff, but I forget who it was I was reading or listening to the other day, but saying that the supply of racism does not meet the demand at this moment, that the demand for racism, right,
that's a great quote.
Yeah, and I believe that to be true. Now I'm not saying there's no racist people out there. No, there absolutely are, but I don't think that if a business were to do that they would do well. I think that their business would suffer, especially if they were outward about it. No blacks served. I mean, it's like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, I know I wouldn't go in there. I don't think either of you would.
No,
I don't care how much.
At the very least, it's a horrific business model in today's,
it's just not
no matter how much free barbecue sauce they give you, Skunk, right? You would not go in there.
I don't know, barbecue sauce.
Wow, you're touching a sensitive thing with them right now.
An establishment that supports racism, dude, their barbecue sauce is free and it's amazing. Where I'm not a racist. I just have my hood today.
Interesting.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, interesting. We bring this up because I think I saw an article today about Yelp being able to flag businesses that are racist, right? So, and then that definition keeps shifting too, right? They keep moving the goalposts.
That's the problem, because
big time.
That's scary. You can bury someone for something that is an opinion in a sense,
Yeah, there's that case against. I think it's been decided, but it's still kind of ongoing right now with Gibson Bakery somewhere in Ohio, right? There was this kid who was shoplifting, and the owner chased after him. The kid happened to be black, and so at Oberlin College, right next to Oberlin College in Ohio, and so they catch the kid, and then all of a sudden they're crying. They're saying that the owner, the bakery, was racist. They've had this long established relationship with the college, providing them baked goods for a number of years, and so, I mean, they go through this whole thing. They have professors from the college coming out saying that they're racist, and that's not the case, right? It's the kid stole, right? It's on camera. They chased him down. They caught him. They arrested the 3 shoplifters, and they just happened to be black, right? But I mean, that they're crying racism now. So it's
that right.
That's crazy.
The people crying racism are more racist than the guy.
Well, these are dangerous things to even say, unfortunately. But I mean, that right there, and I have so many friends that are, I would say, probably progressive liberals, but that's the danger of the progressive left, is that kind of behavior right there, right? I'm pretty sure, the right wing guys get all the flack for it, and I mean, they got a bunch of fucking ass clown bozos and the white supremacists and KKK, but those are small groups. Hopefully, I mean, nobody supports these assholes, right? No, so I mean, but when you got a situation like that had nothing to do with race, but I feel like it's a bandwagon thing right now, and so these people are going, "Oh man, if we don't get behind this," and so all of a sudden you're squashing a fucking business.
Right. Well, it goes back to what you just said. That I said that was a great quote. Was that the demand and the supply, right? The supply is not there. There's more demand for racism than there is actually racism. So they're going to look for anything to find. Oh, well, this is this. Okay, that's it. I think that could be.
I agree. That is a fantastic
cause that.
Yeah,
I can't take responsibility for it, but I forget who I read.
I'll post that tomorrow on social media. Dan Welby says they're really, and then I'll misquote you even more and say and claims there really is no racism, and that guy in the bakery should be fine, and that Kyle kid is a hero. I'll just kind of go with it, and then we'll see a headline about SoundCheck Music School closing.
Oh man. Well, it's with the business, it's an interesting thing. My wife gets on me a lot about it. It's like, you got to be careful with what you say and what you're doing, because of the business. But, at the same time, it's like, I do censor myself sometimes. I'll go to start posting something, and then I stop, even though I believe what I'm about to post. But it's like
sometimes and it's good to take pause sometimes and walk away from it. And I think that we're so reactionary, right? We see something, I've done it so many times, not nearly as many as some people, but you see something, you get upset, like just these horrible tragedies, like with the Breonna Taylor verdict, right? And everyone's just gonna boom, it happens.
Right.
Well, what if we find out down the line? I mean, I haven't been paying much attention, but new information just came out, and who knows, right? I mean, maybe that's a shit example, but it could be
not that shit.
It's so typical. Everything is so reactionary. You can't take that back. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's good to sometimes just go like,
Yeah.
You can never hurt
and,
yourself without speaking, basically, right?
For a certain amount of time.
For a certain degree of time, right? I mean, there is a time that people do have to speak up. And I think back to what we were actually just saying with the supply and demand, I think a lot of people, most people, they have good intentions. I think they mean well. I don't think people are a bunch of commies or a bunch of Nazis. I think people mean well and they believe things in their heart and they get very passionate about it. And then they just get, like you said, things get blown out of proportion and you get sort of duped or, on one end to the other, and you start rolling with it. And the next thing you're setting fire to a business or shooting some black people, and you're going, "What? Where did this happen?" It's scary because I feel like even reasonable, rational people can get caught up in something. And I mean, how many absurd incidents? Some guy got killed here in Austin a month or two back, right? I mean, Vic knows about this. The guy was at protests for night after night after night for 50 whatever. Nothing. It's his right, I guess, but with walking around with an AR-15 and some car or whatever it was, AK-40. What was it?
AK-47.
Oh, was it a 47?
Yeah.
I just everyone says AR-15s are everywhere, so I just say that. No matter what, it's an AR-15, a BB gun, AR-15. So, yeah, I guess it's an AK-47, and and then some car gets caught up in who knows what anyway, if you're in a car, I've been in this situation, not related to stuff recently, but if you're in a fucking car and a mob of people starts coming at your car, that is not a fun situation. You want to get the fuck out of that situation, right? Well, that's what happened. I don't know if the guy in the car was deliberate. Who knows? I don't know the details.
Well,
all I know is if a guy walks up to your car with a fucking automatic rifle,
semi-automatic,
and you've got a semi-automatic. Thank you, Marine. And I mean, anyway, the guy shot him, and as far as I know, he's still out of jail, and he didn't get, but I mean, self-defense or whatever. But dude, it's a tragic event, but it's something that could have been avoided, right? I mean, so it's like people get really caught up and they mean well, but they're just making there's a lot of bad decisions being
exactly
made.
Yeah, I actually heard Tim Kennedy just talking about that. He's a retired UFC fighter. Yeah, special forces guy, right?
Yeah.
And he was on the Rogan podcast, and he was talking about that specific incident because he lives here in Austin. But he was saying, so the driver was an Uber driver, and he was following the route to go pick up a fare, and so it just happened to take him through that protest. And
oh wow,
yeah, and so the way the events played out, he drives, gets surrounded, and the guy points the AK at him, self-defense, right? Shoots him. It's unfortunate all the way around, right? You don't want to be in that situation if you can avoid it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he went into some other stuff too. It's pretty interesting, but yeah, just bad.
A friend of mine told me about Tim Kennedy actually, and I've watched a little bit of him. I want to check out more of him though. Seems like a sharp dude.
Yeah, he runs some classes. He does training. I wouldn't mind taking one of those classes.
I know. Hey, well, how do they work? Oh, he's down there, huh? He's in Texas.
Well, he does them in Texas, but I think he does them. Well, he had been doing them different states. Okay. And so basically, you find a training class. It could be a day or a 2-day class.
Right.
And yeah, sign up, and it's usually like a day or 2 days, and they'll give you the requirements of what you need to bring. So cool. It's really cool stuff.
Yeah, that's what, because I'm a new gun owner, and my buddy who told me about him, he's also a new gun owner, and he was talking about him and doing the training stuff with him, and that's how I learned about him. So, yeah. But I haven't done any of that training yet. I need to though, for sure.
Check out Sheepdog Response. No, that's Tim Kennedy's.
Right. Okay.
Craft Survival is another one. So he's another special forces guy by the name of Mike Glover. So they know each other. But Mike has actually put out, because of the lockdowns and everything, he's actually put out some training classes, some videos that you could download, just basic 101 stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I've been watching some stuff.
Is that an AR-15 that you got, Dan?
Me? No, I got a handgun. I would love to get the AR though. I got a little subcompact HK P2000.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, 40 caliber. So
yeah,
It was, well, I wanted to get some kind of a Glock, but when I went to the gun shop, that was basically the only one there that I could get. Like they had other ones, but I'm like, I don't want any of that stuff. Okay. And I was like, okay, well, that's the one then, because they had nothing. There was nothing on the shelves. There's hardly anything there.
How does that work in California? Is there like a waiting period or?
There is. So I did some studying. I had to read over, they have a pamphlet that you have to read through that goes over fundamental basics of gun safety, of course, and then you go to the gun shop the day that whatever, you have to take a written test. It's multiple choice. I think it's like 30 or 50 questions, maybe something like that.
Wow. Okay.
And it didn't take me very long at all. And yeah, I did that. And it was weird because I was like, the guy took it and then I didn't even see him like look at it. And I'm like, so did I pass? He's like, everybody passes. I'm like, okay. So what gun do you want? I'm like, okay, I think I want that one. Okay, cool. So I bought it and then I have to wait 10 business days.
Okay.
So I was able to get it about 2 weeks later. And then I just went back 2 weeks later, picked it up, grabbed the ammo, and that was it. On my way.
Fill out the federal form, the 1117 or 1173, whatever it's called. Yeah. So.
I don't remember. I mean, I did fill out a bunch of the paperwork. I don't remember what it all was, and then now I know whenever I buy ammo or whatever too, I have to go through the whole, like they fingerprint you. And,
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. You have to do like
do the background checks again on the ammo?
Yeah, purchase? They run. Yeah, they chart. Like I bought. It's hard to find ammo right now, but one of the times I did get some. I went to Big Five Sporting Goods, and that's what they had to. They charged me $1 to do a background check, and then of course they checked my ID, thumbprint, and all that just to buy some ammo. So
wow,
yeah,
well, that's a good gun you got there. The HK.
Thanks, man. Yeah, everybody says it's a pretty good one. So I honestly didn't know anything about. Yeah, it was almost $1,000 for the damn thing. I paid almost $1,000 for it. Yeah, but I was like, I'm sure it was overpriced, but I was like, I'm a newbie to the whole thing, and I was like, I don't have time to be picky or like to shop around or any of that stuff.
Right.
This was probably like April or so when I did this. So somewhere around April. It was right. Well, when did the George Floyd thing happen? Because
that was late May. I want to say that might have been May 27th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe it was May then, because I think it was really
right when
it was right when the whole George. Because then when the rioting started to happen, it was when I did it. I mean, I had wanted to get a gun for at least the last 10 years, and I never took the time to do it. I never felt like I have to do it, or, I wanted to, but I just never did it. But then this whole thing happened, and that just kind of I'm like, okay, I got to do this, this is the time to do it, So, and I got my son coming, I got my wife, it's just like, you don't know what the hell's going to happen, and it's like, I hope I never need to use the damn thing in a defensive manner. I
certainly make the case for the Second Amendment, though, when times like that, there's a lot of rational thinking, good people. They're like, shit, I never felt the need, but I would like to have this because things get really crazy, and I want to be able to protect myself and my family. Yeah.
It went through the roof, man. The new gun owners and like the background checks. I mean, it was like millions within a period of like a month or two or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It went crazy. So, but yeah, so it's the wife isn't too keen on it, but I'm gonna try to get her into it a little bit, once the baby's born, and go to the range and try something out,
She make like that HK and take it away from you. They're
I
pretty
know,
smooth.
Right? Yeah, it's great. I mean, I'll tell you, I had shotguns in the past, but I don't think I ever shot a 40 caliber. I think I've only shot up to 9mm. But when I first pulled the trigger on that, I was like, whoa. For me, it was powerful. I'm like, holy shit, this is a pretty freaking gnarly gun, man, So, but, that's, I've been around guns. My dad was a cop. So, I mean, when I was a kid growing up, there was always guns around, and he took me to the sand pits a couple times when I was a kid and fired a couple couple guns here and there, so always around them, but there's never really, I never had my own and never got super into them, but I am at this point trying to just enough to know, like, I'm not trying to be like, know every little thing about every little thing, but enough to know, hey, this is what I need to do to be safe. And this is what I need to do to operate it properly. And, so because honestly, awesome. Much more other things I'd much rather pay attention to, but
right. Yeah.
But that's like, for me, I think it was a necessary thing to do in this time,
It's kind of like knowing how to change a tire, right?
Sure. Well, how often do you need to do that? But
yeah. Right, exactly.
But I've definitely had to do it a few times on the 405 or on the 101, and I'm like, fuck, bam. I feel like I always like. One time I was with the Electra where I had to change my tire, and I was like, I always think back to. You remember A Christmas Story? Do you remember?
Yeah.
And the dad's always like pretending he's in the pits, and like that's what I do when I got to change a tire now. I'm like, and I told her, I'm like, time me. I'm like, and I go out and I'm like trying to jack it up real quick.
That's awesome.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that movie and that scene because
I love it.
I haven't really seen much of this show in recent years, but I caught part of a Family Guy the other night, and there was some part where something happened, and I think it was Stewie. It was like something happened, and he did something, and he was like, "Oh fudge!" And then he was like, and then he goes, "But I didn't say fudge. I said fuck." And it just like bleeped out. It was hilarious.
Oh man,
the king mother of all swears, or whatever. Yeah, whatever it is.
Classic, man.
I love that movie. That's one of the best. But
speaking of flat tires, I kind of want to like go way back to where we sort of started before we got into all the other stuff. So back when you moved out to LA with Sean, you guys moved out there together, right? Did Sean have that big galls? There was always that big van, right? And then you guys toured in it.
So that was my van.
That was your van. Okay.
Yeah. So my parents bought that van, maybe brand new or whatever. It was like a 1990 van, I believe. But yeah, my parents bought that.
Curtains and the travel family van kind of thing.
Yeah, with the TV and the VCR and all that stuff. So we did a lot of family vacations and stuff with that vehicle. And then I bought it off my folks. So 99 was when we moved out there. So I probably bought it off my folks in like 97-ish, maybe. Like I was I sold my Jeep and bought that because I had started playing drums a lot more again. I'd stopped playing drums. I had a Jeep, and then having a Jeep Wrangler and a drum set, that didn't work very well. I did it. I don't know how I did it, and then eventually I was playing more. And so that's when I bought the van. And then that's how, so Sean and I packed that thing to the brim and a U-Haul trailer, and across we went. So we took 2 weeks to go across. We took our time and
did some sightseeing and
we stopped and saw two of his uncles. One was in Michigan, one was in like Wisconsin, and we actually took a ferry across Lake Michigan to go to see one uncle to see the other uncle, and then we drove across the northern part of it mostly. And down through the Grand Tetons. We saw the Grand Tetons over there. And then we came into California at around the San Francisco area. And then we drove down the coast down to LA. So that was that trip. Great time, man. Great memories for that.
I remember going somewhere. I don't know if it was ever all of us or who it was, but I just remember Sean driving, and we were trying to find parking on Sunset for some show down there one night, and that was interesting.
Oh yeah, that van was not small, and it was like and parking out here is just a nightmare,
disaster. So and then you guys toured. Did HG tour? Was that 2003 when you guys toured? Did you tour back up all the way to like Boston or what?
Yeah. So in 2003, it was weird, but we ended up in Colorado at some point, Michigan, Massachusetts, Florida, Texas, and like maybe New Mexico. But we did go. We went around the whole.
What a tour, man! Like how long was the tour?
There's more driving than it was anything else.
Sure, yeah.
We didn't play a ton of shows. I mean, we probably only played a handful of shows. I mean, we did play a bunch, but
we did play a few. As I remember.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been we would have been nice if we played more, but it just wasn't possible, you know. But it was a lot of fun. It was a month. We were on the road for a month.
Well, it's really hard to book a DIY tour and coordinate it all. I'm assuming you guys booked that whole thing.
Yeah, Sean did the majority of it all. Exactly.
To do and to make it all. I mean, ideally, you're like, and then I'm here, and the next night 4 hours away. No, it doesn't work like that at all.
Yeah. So it was. Sean did the majority of all that, and he gutted that van. We took out everything. Remember? Yeah, he made all that
cabinets and wasn't like my brother wasn't like a fucking bean bag. Wasn't like a bean bag or a little chair in the back. How did that work in the back? Because you had the captain's chairs, I guess, the front, and then
that was it. And then, oh man, it wasn't even a beanbag, dude. It was fucking horrible. But basically, yeah, he built out the shelves, right? So basically, it's hard to explain it, but he made like a bench, and out of the plywood, and then the wall of and the cabinets were all behind it, you know. So, anyways, we all spent time on that bench. Your poor brother probably spent the most time there, but it was horrible. That was the worst part of it. And the van had no AC.
I was gonna say, I feel like that was a thing too that I remember.
Oh, so no air conditioning. I think we might have had it in the beginning, but by the time
why just down and dirty fucking.
I remember going through Arizona, man, and it was just like we weren't sure if we should have the windows open or closed because the air coming in was freaking hot. You know, it's like blowing hot fucking air. It was like, I don't know. Yeah, it was crazy, man. So yeah, it was very uncomfortable.
Just smell of balls all through the southern states.
It was.
Did you guys break down at some point on that tour, or I feel like there was something that maybe it was just a flat tire, or I don't know if you guys had some kind of incident on that.
I'm trying to think. I don't remember anything majorly bad happening in regards to that. I don't think so. I don't know. I think we made it mostly okay with the van. I think. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and this was early. Well, somewhat early cell phone times. I mean, I think I had gotten one finally just a few years before that. So everyone probably had those Nokia little cell phones iPhone, I think, or maybe
I don't.
Yeah. But it's crazy to even think about that now. A time before social media, right? A time before that shit. And you're
crazy.
Making phone calls to everybody, and you probably, you had out the big map, you know.
Well, I remember going to internet cafes on that tour. We would find local internet cafes at different places. I don't know if I had a cell phone at that point. I may or may not have. I don't remember. But because I don't remember when I got my first one, honestly, but it's probably somewhere around that time. But yeah, but I remember us going in when we were in some different places looking for to go places to do internet stuff, because it wasn't like readily accessible on your phone, or I don't think I had a laptop with me or anything, So, but yeah, it was a different time, man. It's a different time. It's crazy to think that.
Yeah, I know, right? It's and just with the rate that technology has. I mean, you just look at the last 20 years, and then you look at the years before that, you start to go,
wow. Yeah. Oh, it's crazy.
Where are we going to be in 30 years, or are we even going to be here in 100 years?
It's like, I don't even know if exponential is the correct word anymore. I mean, there's like, we got to create a new word for how quickly technology is moving, it's like,
it just makes me wonder, like where we're going to be even in 2050, right? Like
sure.
The level at which things are moving, because all the things that are a way of life, every single thing that's happening now, like when not even 20 years ago, like those were things I don't think we would have ever thought of or conceived.
Sure.
Yeah. You're sitting here talking to each other on Zoom and a podcast, and just all the crazy shit, man. So,
and I mean, I could literally do this on my phone. Honestly, I could be zooming. Like this whole thing works on a phone too.
Yeah, from the toilet, like the president.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, who would have thought? I guess that's been a theme though. Wasn't LBJ a fucking toilet guy on the old?
I'm not sure.
Phone made phone call. I think he used to make phone calls on the toilet. I think that was one of his power moves.
All right.
So,
I don't know about that, but I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, why not?
Facts don't matter. I said it. It's true. That's all that matters. Yeah. Someone said something. I believe it.
There it is. I love it. But yeah.
But yeah, man, shit, dude. Well, okay, so let's replug your stuff. SoundCheck Music School.
Yeah, SoundCheck Music School.
Anoka Park.
Anoka Park, California.
Worldwide, teaching worldwide. I'm glad to hear business is picking up or doing ours. That state, we were able to stay stabilized and you got people coming back in. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, we're blessed, man. We're blessed. It's
band stuff's great too.
Yeah, I was actually looking at the finances the other day, yesterday. We are like, I think we've made like $150 more at this point compared to last year. So it's almost exactly the same.
It's crazy. I remember when everything went to hell in March and in April and like the stock market things were, and I would talk to a few people in there. Everyone's just going like, man, what the hell? And now it's weird, right? Because with as much like stuff that has crashed and burned, and with all the uprising and chaos, it's like there's a lot of things that are surprisingly functioning pretty well. I've actually been really surprised and lucky. I mean, we're lucky that this happened at this. Speaking of technology, right? This would have been a death sentence, 20 years ago, right?
Oh, dude, if we couldn't have gone online, I don't know how the hell we would survive.
We'd have all been totally screwed, totally screwed, And so, and now the fact that you've been able to keep the school afloat, schools are still able to function. I mean, we're talking music schools in particular, but I mean, other schools have to, obviously. But it's been crazy, man. Like in a lot of ways, I've been busier than I've ever have in throughout this thing, Right.
Well, it's interesting, because like when this whole thing happened and the lockdown happened and everything, and we went to online, it was like we felt really, really busy because we were like, first off, we were adjusting to this new idea. And plus now we have our teachers who we don't see them anymore. And so making sure that all of them are still working and getting comfortable and that their students are connecting with them and hope, we ended up it felt like busier.
Oh, I'm sure with you having to coordinate, because I know the school that I work for, that's like, that whole period of figuring out, okay, this is happening.
Right, exactly.
Because I think a lot of people, it was very much like, let's take all the safety precautions. We're, trying to have a positive out. And then it was like, nope, it's shutting down. This is happening. We got to deal with it. And so making that transition for all these businesses and going like, and now the cool thing is that those transitions have been made, like that you had to go through that time.
Yeah.
Now these are things that you know how to implement and use and are comfortable with and that can be, used going forward to hopefully bring in even more revenue, It's
the one thing that I'm actually like thankful about that we kind of figured that out, by the situation, because again, it's a great, it's just a great alternate way. Because even like, for instance, if a student can't make it in for their regular scheduled lesson for whatever reason, well, okay, do you want to just do a Zoom class instead? You can't make it in, let's just do it online. So that starts to alleviate the makeup lesson issue, because makeup lessons can be a pain in the ass sometimes. Or even if you have trouble scheduling a makeup lesson because the student can't come in on a different day, but they have the time. So okay, well, we'll just do a Zoom class as a makeup lesson, okay, fine, and everybody's fine with it. So it actually, in the end, I think it ended up becoming a positive. And yeah, we'll never not do online lessons moving forward. I just don't see that ever not happening at this point, So it may not be the bulk of it. It is right now. I mean, we do have a lot of people that come in, a decent amount, but I'd still say right around 90% of our clients are still online, So
yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's a good majority, but we had quite a few that were like, wanting to come back in and do the in-person as soon as possible. And a lot of the calls that we get right now, when we get phone calls for new clients, the most of the people that call want the in-person. Some want the online, but the bulk of the people calling now are looking for the in-person thing, and we do, we keep we do we have certain protocols. We get the mask. I end up wearing this thing when I'm teaching all the time, so because I don't like the thing. It gets hot and uncomfortable, so I just wear that. And like in the vocal room, we have this huge, like, it's actually, we usually use it for the stage banners, like the big stage banners. But we took a shower curtain, a clear shower curtain, and it's like 6 foot across, 6 foot tall, and that's like a big shield between the teacher and the student. And they also still will wear the face shields as well. So, so we do take the precautions as far as everything goes for that. But yeah, a lot of people they want to have the in-person experience. Because honestly, I mean, the teaching online, I know you said you love it. I like it. I don't say I love it. If I were to choose, I want to do the in-person. Because one of the things that we really lose with the online lessons is that you can't really interact. You can't jam.
That is the thing. The technology is not there to play along. Like I can't have a virtual band happen. You just can't do it. So I have to go very much one-on-one. And that's why I was saying, like, it had to become a point where it was like, I need everyone to be able to record, and so I can, individually put because we can't do it together. That hurts for sure. When it's more of a, we're talking about this now, you play this, so let me, when it's individual, it's not a problem. Like trying to do things collectively. And I do think like it's probably tougher for certain instruments too and styles. Like I feel like drums would be certainly tougher.
Some of the audio stuff I got to deal with, man. Some of the audio stuff coming from some of the clients, it's just brutal. Like they don't want to buy a decent microphone or something like that. Right. And it's just like, it's tolerable and I go through it, but man, sometimes I'm just like, it's just not pleasant to listen to because it
can totally, you're just,
right. Oh yeah. It's all hi-hat, it's just, it's brutal, but it is a good thing. But again, the in-person for me is the most,
sure.
The most fun, the most beneficial. Because I'll sit down with on the practice pad with my students, and I like to play along with them and get them to feel the time coming from me, and I can get them, and we go faster, and I kind of pull them through some stuff. I can't do that.
Well, as a drummer, I was talking about this earlier, how I'd played some shows with my like a adult class and stuff. And like, for me as a teacher nowadays, that's what I love. In the end, like obviously it's been totally different online. Now I'm very much back to like, it's just I approach that 100% differently because I'm in a classroom and there's a drum set, like, an electronic drum set, like I'm on the drums, man, because then you're there pushing that time and making them. Yeah. That is something you're not going to get in any other way to like really in terms of groove and playing an actual song. So I do think that is one thing that I like, probably the thing I enjoy the most about like in-person lessons.
Right.
For almost
I was actually getting my bass playing chops up for the last year and a half to 2 years. Because we don't have a lot of bass students at the school. So with the student band program, our main music director is a bass player, but I ended up becoming the bass player for a couple of the student bands. So I was having weekly rehearsal, learning all these songs and doing performances on bass. I fucking loved it, man. It was great. And even in the drum lessons with some of my students, I would be picking up the bass and jamming out some stuff and getting some live, just drum and bass groove. And now that that didn't happen for the last several months as well. My bass playing chops are down.
I hear that, man. Yeah. I had to do like a guitar solo for something the other day, and I was just like, it ripped my fingers to shreds because I hadn't been like actually playing. I mean, I was writing it and play over and over until I had it, and I was just like, oh my God. But yeah, I mean, because that's one thing I actually really love about teaching, though, and I think a lot of teachers probably like that, is that you sort of in an environment where you have all the instruments, you can hop around on different things and play different stuff. It's just kind of keeps it fresh for
it's
you.
Fun. It's fun. I love that part of it, for sure.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see, man. Like hopefully it'll just be like when. I don't know how this is all going to pan out, but at some point, when things really start to open up and we get comfortable and there's a vaccine or whatever the case may be, like there will be a huge influx for all kinds of businesses, but hopefully schools and this kind of stuff, and people that just had, they've been like, I wasn't able to do this and I'm going to do it. And I want to get, so many people are going to be like, I want my kids go do shit. You've been here all day, every day for a year. Fuck, go. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
It'll just boom, here, hopefully relatively soon. We'll see.
Yeah, I know. I hope so, so it's weird. Cause like I said, excuse me, the school this year did about the same as last year, but this is the first year we didn't grow. It's like every other year since we've started, and I'm thankful for this, is that the school had been growing. And so this is just going to be the first year that's going to be pretty much identical to the previous year as far as revenue goes,
Yeah.
So, which, hey, man,
getting through 2020 and breaking even is a win, I think.
I agree. And I'm not complaining, but it's just more of an observation and just
sure.
That's kind of
what
happened,
Hopefully, though, with the desire of people wanting to get out and physically interact and do things, and with the option of the online as well as in person, like hopefully, man, next year, in future years,
it's going to be better.
A big,
That's it. That's the hope, man. I'm hoping, So. But
yeah, dude. Well, and I'm gonna check out. I pulled up the website because I feel like that got mentioned somewhere down the line. Time in the Dragon, and then obviously Electra, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So for people that want to check, those both have websites and everything.
Yeah, timeinthedragon.com and electrarocks.com.
Awesome.
So yeah, and we all have Facebook stuff as well, So I don't handle any of that, but we do have those pages out there. So there's music videos as well for both of those on YouTube. Electra's got some music videos. Time in the Dragon's got some music videos. So yeah, this stuff is out there. It's there.
Yeah, I'm not guaranteeing anyone's going to watch this or watch that, but hey, plug it. Pretend.
Wait, no guarantees. What do you think I'm doing this for, man? Oh my God! I just wasted 2 hours.
Dan, I just wanted to know we got one view on the YouTube video, so get ready, man. You're about to blow up, dude.
You're doing it for McDonald's barbecue sauce.
25 cents, motherfucker.
Unbelievable.
The funny thing was with McDonald's is I hadn't eaten there for a little while, and I was like, I'm done with this shit. And then one day it was like, I was like, man, McDonald's breakfast sounds so good right now. Fuck it, I'm gonna go have childhood memory. Like, I'm gonna go have McDonald's breakfast. And then I was like, it's not really great, but I'm trying to enjoy my dinner. And then I was like, you know what? I could use some whatever the fuck barbecue sauce I wanted with. And they were like 25 cents, and I'm like, I'm done. Something that ridiculous that was like led to a 20-year McDonald's ban.
Yeah, but it's good though, man. I mean, if there's going to be, that's probably one of the best things to cut out, I
would be even fatter. Yeah. So, and it's crazy how we will wrap here pretty soon, but it's, what's interesting, seeing some of those places that when we went out to LA, that was like, In-N-Out Burger. Everybody knew it from Big Lebowski, and it was like
my favorite.
In-N-Out Burger. I had eaten there, and I was like, it's nothing special, whatever. And when
I love it.
I never ate there. And I don't particularly like their fries, but now I've come around and like someone let me in on the whole animal. Like I didn't realize there was the super secret In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah, you got to know the secret menu.
I fucking love that shit now, man. Now I'm like, last time I was in LA, like we were like got In-N-Out Burger and was like, hell yeah, man. So
I love In-N-Out. It's one of my favorites.
Dude, they've got In-N-Out here now. They've got Carl's Jr. here. I think Carl's Jr. is the first. It's been here for at least 10 years. It's been here for a while.
I don't hit the Carl's Jr. though.
I don't know. I never liked it. I thought it was like like Burger King, just to like, Harry, come have some diarrhea, like. Yeah. And then there's like, there's a Del Taco somewhere. Del Taco was my weakness because I'm a
Del Taco. I remember Del Taco.
I like Del Taco. Yeah, I got one right down the street from my house. I'll hit that every now and again.
I don't know if they still do it, but they used to have like a Taco Tuesday or some shit where it's like three tacos for $1, and I would just go like get like 9 tacos.
Yeah, I love
also Del Taco. Genius. Like, who thinks of this? Fucking tacos and French fries together. Del Taco. There you have it.
Think outside the bun or whatever. Or isn't that their slogan or something like that?
Taco Bell's slogan.
Oh, that's Taco Bell.
But clearly, Del Taco did it better. They were like, no, here, you can have fries with it.
It was the crinkly fries too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Okay.
They got good fries. I like their fries. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, until I was stationed in California, I'd never even heard of Del Taco. We had something similar in the Panhandle, Taco Villa, but Del Taco, yeah. I finally broke down and tried it when I was stationed out there. I'm like, okay. Yeah, I'll do this.
Sitting on the toilet 2 hours later going, yeah, that's totally worth it, man.
Those fries were worth it.
Yeah.
Biggest loss for California is not having Whataburger, man. Did you ever have that?
I've never had a Whataburger. No.
Oh,
I've seen it, but I never had one. No.
Texans are pretty, proud of their Whataburger, and I'll give them credit on that one. Like it's a good sandwich. It's good stuff.
I don't think I did. I mean, I've been through Texas a few times, but I don't know if I've ever had the Whataburger. I don't think so. I don't think I have, but I don't know.
Cool, man. Well, we covered some politics. We covered lots of music. It
was fun. I had a good time, man. Thanks for.
Yeah, man, dude. Thanks for coming on. It's awesome to catch up.
Yeah, it was good. I definitely enjoyed it.
Again, congrats on your success with the school, and by success I mean staying afloat in 2020, and with the kid on the way and all that kind of stuff, man. It's great.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's exciting. I can't wait for that little guy to get here and
see
how that whole thing goes.
And it's boy, like you guys know the sex, and
so
got a name picked out.
Yeah, his name is going to be Orion.
Oh, badass.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Well, Electra was looking through books of names and whatever, and that was just one. And she kind of wanted a Greek name that was easily said in English as well, because some Greek names just don't translate well into English. And so Orion is from Greek mythology, of course, it's the constellation Orion. So he was the great hunter. And so anyways, she threw that name out there. We were both looking at each other like, oh, that's kind of nice. We liked it. And then she kept going through more over the weeks. And then we just kept going back, Orion's the best one. And then, of course, it's a Metallica song. So
that's what I was saying. Like, somewhere inside that 14-year-old you was like, fuck yeah. Dude, that's a cool name. Like, honestly, like that's a really badass Orion Welby just sounded.
Right, yeah.
Did you go and start right at the gates? Did you secretly crank Orion in the background as you were thinking, just to kind of push her more toward that?
I did. So my wife is not really big on the metal, just so you all know. But I did show her the song, and she was really not that impressed, honestly. But whatever, I don't care.
What I think you should do is, whenever it's going down in the hospital, man, you need to have a boom box and just be good. Most epic birth ever
on a loop.
Yeah,
so
man.
It starts over and over again. That would be awesome. Yes.
I know.
That'd be great.
The labor that intro just kicks in.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great tune, man. It's a fun song.
It is, man.
You'd have the doctor and the nursing staff going, fuck yes.
But yeah, so I'm I gave him my name as his middle name. So it's Orion Daniel Welby.
That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah.
I like it. I got my dad's middle name my dad's first name is my middle name. So I decided to carry that over and so give him my middle name. My name is his middle. So, but it's fun. I definitely didn't want like a typical name, like John or, I wanted something that was somewhat unique.
There's some weird thing I feel like as a musician, like I feel like a responsibility that my kid has to have a cooler name than me. So he doesn't have to make up a name.
Right.
He actually has a really cool name that he can just be. And then like easy to be a rock star because it just sounds cool already.
Well, like my wife, right? I mean, come on, her name is Electra. It's like,
right. It's cool.
People constantly ask her, is that your stage name? Nope. That's my real name. That's my birth given name. Oh, wow. That's cool. Because it's like you're a rock star by default,
Exactly, man. And so Orion is just going to be the shit immediately, dude. It's going to be so cool in school. Like the little in the know kids, like the ones that have like long hair with the cool parents are just going to be like,
that's the plan, man. That's the plan.
Can you see him like getting into high school and shit when kids start playing music? Dude, your name's Orion? It's fucking awesome. I want to hang out with Orion. They just want to say his name over and over. I'm going to Ryan's house.
Oh, man. Well, I hope so. That's what I hope, man. For sure. So, but
right on, brother. Anything to add, Vic? You got anything?
I guess kind of going back to the music school, you're offering online lessons, right? So
yeah,
anybody that wants to check you out, hit you up.
Yeah, definitely do.
Cool.
Thank you.
It's so cool, man. You don't even have to live in LA.
There you go.
I know.
You get to don't have to experience the traffic, right?
Seriously, you know what I really love the most about this whole interview? Well, first, your son's name, but second to that is none of the other stuff we talked about. It's just the fact that we actually got to talk with someone that's saying stuff like, and on the 405, and then I was on the Can you say it more California, though? Can you be like, and then on the 101?
The 101, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
the 405 and the 101. It's like, that's the worst freaking intersection ever, man.
See, I loved it when you guys came out to LA, and then me and my brother were out there from Texas, and they were more Sean than you. I don't think you were so bad, but just giving us shit about being Texan all the time. I'm sure my brother got a bunch of shit on tour, but then I remember like back to the parking, the Sunset thing. I remember when I was like making fun of him because he was all like, "Yeah, wicked," you know,
wicked.
It's got some wicked pink in here, some wicked pink in.
It's parking, man. It's parking.
You
got to park the car.
Shut up. Oh, I almost said my real name. I can't do that. Shut up, you Texas bastard. And that was terrible Boston accent. I have no way to claim to be able to do that. All I remember was wicked.
Wicked, man. It's always wicked. Yeah. The easiest way to do the Boston accent, man, is you just got to remember that the R is really an AH.
Oh, okay.
So it's an AH. It's not R, it's ah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's it. So
or AH,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the simplest way. And the whole the key one of the phrases, you know how it's like when you're learning how to type, it's the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog, it's got all the letters there. So with the Boston accent, you just got to say park the car in the Harvard yard.
Excellent. I think we're taking some. This is gold.
Wait, another thing I've noticed about folks from up there is anything that ends in like an A, it sounds like an R. It's like R or something like that. So like you try to pronounce somebody's name and it ends in an A. Like I have a friend, his last name is Choppa, but it kind of sounds like Chopper, right?
Chopper.
Yeah. I know, but they got that really thick, like was it Massachusetts accent. Yeah.
Well, it's just a kind of the ah instead of it's not really so much an R. It's more of an ah.
Yeah.
It's an ah.
This was helpful. I'm gonna go practice this stuff.
Park the car in the Harvard yard, right there.
Park the car in the Harvard yard.
There you go.
I don't know.
There you go. You got it, man.
Okay, before we go, like now you have to do a Texas accent. What does it sound like when a Boston guy tries to do a Texas accent?
Oh man, well, I don't even know. Where's the barbecue sauce? I don't know.
It happened. Where's the barbecue? Where's the barbecue sauce?
I need my cowboy boots so I can go get some barbecue sauce.
Hey, pass me those cowboy boots so I can get my barbecue sauce. I need some wicked barbecue sauce. Oh, it's brilliant. Oh, man. Dan,
fantastic.
Great food, man. Thank you so much for doing the podcast.
We're going to leave it on a high note right there.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
All right. Well, good to see you, Mr. Skunk. Good to meet you, Vic.
Same, likewise.
Yeah. Everybody. Until next time, this is Eclectic Soundtrax. Laters. Wow, you don't stop. You know I'm gonna give you to my body so much of a wow, you don't stop. Now breathe the